Welcome to our Executive Mentoring Group webinar on mastering executive communications. I'm really excited about this topic, and we had actually record-breaking registrations for this webinar, so I'm excited to get started. For those of you who don't know me, hello, I'm Patty Azzarello, and I had a long career as a business executive, CEO. I'm now an author and a speaker, and today I have my own company, Azzarello Group, where I advise companies and executives on strategy and leadership topics. But something that's really important to me is to help others in their own careers, help others develop as leaders, and help others get the recognition and the advancement that they want and deserve in their own careers. So as part of my business, I offer this program called my Executive Mentoring Group. And members of the group get access to lots of tools and additional resources and support from me to help put the ideas in these webinars into action to get their own career breakthrough. And as part of these webinars, there is what I'm calling the monthly executive playbook. And each month that you're a member, there will be a new executive playbook. And this month's is on mastering executive communications. And in the playbook it's a playbook with practical action steps and templates and worksheets and scripts to help you prepare for the presentation and delivery of both your presentations and your conversations with executives. So this month, there are lots of great templates and outlines in the playbook. Later on, I'll talk about the membership program and how you can join the Executive Mentoring Group, but I'll also tell you how you can get this month's playbook on mastering executive communications for free. So I always like to start these webinars by talking about where the topic fits in the success model I describe in my book, Rise, of do better, look better, and connect better. So it's really important in any career that you are doing some of all of these three things. Do better is about making sure that your work has a very high level of impact. Look better is about how you are perceived and building your credibility and positive visibility. And connect better is about building support for your career. The most successful people get the most help. Today's topic on mastering executive communications really is a look better topic because it has so much to do with your credibility. But it also touches the other topics about being more effective and building support, because through your communications are how you show up as a leader and how you get things done. So it's important to keep in mind that the opportunity to communicate is really an opportunity. And what I'd like to do is help you get as prepared as possible to make sure you are taking advantage of all of the opportunities you get to communicate with executives. So what we're going to talk about today is how you need to tune and up-level your communications when you're dealing with executives, how to craft highly effective communications and presentations, and how to prepare and deliver communications for executives, and the key to getting executive support and buy-in to your ideas. And these things are all so important. Why this matters so much is I have seen so many careers stall because people have failed to understand the opportunity when they have a chance to be in meetings or to do presentations with executives. And they miss the chance to prepare in a way that is going to set them up for achieving success and for the recognition that they deserve. So executive communications is really a key skill necessary for achieving success, because if you're good at it, you're going to end up having higher credibility. And that means you're going to get more resources, more support, you're going to get better projects, and you're going to get opportunities for advancement. And this is not about being political. It's about communicating in a way that's going to increase your effectiveness. It's important to understand also that you need to be able to both defend and influence with executives. Part of the skill is your presence, your executive presence, and the other part is making sure you have the right content. And that is going to be a big part of our webinar today, is making sure you get the message right, that you get the content right, because you need to be able to hit the mark really quickly with executives. And there's often little chance for recovery if you don't get it right at the start. Another reason this matters for your career is that you need to show your manager that you can step up. And you need to show your boss that you can be a credible substitute and someone that the executives can respect and relate to, and that you can be trusted to communicate at the right level for executives. So it's a good thing when you're talking about your performance with your manager is to find out how you are perceived when you're doing executive communications, and then find ways to develop this skill on purpose. And that's really what this month's Executive Playbook is all about. It's about helping you develop your executive communication skills in a purposeful way. You really only get one chance with executives. The harsh reality is they don't care. Whatever it is that you are going in to talk with them about, you are much better off if you start your thinking with the fact that they don't care, and that your job, first and foremost, is not to deliver a bunch of information, but it's to get them to care. So let's take a walk through what executives typically expect. At the top level, they are busy and they don't care. And what they want is, for whatever it is you're interacting with them, they want it to be easy, and then they want you to go away because they're very busy. So they are very, very busy, often overbooked. They probably travel a lot, so they may be physically tired. Executives only care about what they care about. Whatever they wake up in the morning thinking about, worried about, invested in, working on, that's what they care about. They don't care about your thing. They care about what they already care about. You also have to acknowledge that too many people want stuff from them. Too many people want their time and their money. They typically have big stresses, things that you wouldn't even imagine. They have a very broad scope of concern compared to whatever your thing is. There may be 1,000 things that are at the level of your thing that fits in their scope of concern. They're not expert in the details, and most of them have a life that they care about. What they want is simplicity, a short meeting. Whatever you're talking about, you have to show the business context, and you have to map to what they care about. Remember, they only care about what they care about. And I'm going to give you some guidance and examples on how to do this, because this is a really, really important point. The other thing you need to be prepared to do is to match their mood. Understand their preferred mode of communicating. Understand their manner. Are they very friendly? Are they very rigid? Do they want data? Do they want stories? how do they communicate and match their mood? And if they're not in the mood for this thing that you're trying to pitch them or sell them or talk to them about, go away. Do it another time. It's really, really important that you match their mood. They're looking for specificity. They're looking for more answers than questions and not asking for vague things. They actually really like to help if it's easy for them to help, because as an executive, you can go through weeks and months at a time and not be sure that anything that you're doing is useful, because all the things you're doing have this strategic timeline, and it can get very frustrating. And if you can ask an executive to do something really specific for you, they feel great to be able to help. But let me just give you an example of what I mean by this. If you're trying to get cooperation from another group, and that other group is not cooperating, if you go into the executive and say, I need your help, this other group is not cooperating, you have just given them a vague thing. You've given them a weight. You've made it their job to figure out how to get this group to help you. That's not an easy thing for them to help with. But if you say, I need cooperation with this other group, would you make a phone call to their leader and request 3 hours of Sharon's time to be applied to this project for the following 3 reasons? That's very specific. That's something they can do. And that is not giving them the weight of the problem. You are maintaining the weight of the problem. And it's funny, I want to share a story about, I was doing a workshop on this in a group of executives. Or they were mid-level managers and sort of new VP level executives. And I had this slide up and I was talking about it. And there was a woman in the room who I didn't know, and she raised her hand and she said, Patty, I have to say something here. I am a C-level executive. And at that moment, my heart just, it just kind of dropped, because I thought, oh no, I've offended this woman by saying, how impatient they are, executives at this level. And she said, I just needed to stop and tell everyone in this room that I am this way. And the funny part to me is I didn't used to be. When I had a lower level management position, this did not define how I communicated. But now that I am in this very senior C-level executive position, this is exactly how I am and what I want and how I need people to communicate with me. And I can't believe I've turned into this person. But I've turned into this person because I'm so busy and because the scope of what I worry about has gotten so much bigger. And I just thought that was a really nice reinforcement for this group of executives, that somebody stepped forward and said, yep, that's the way it is. And part of this I've put together from my own experience as an executive and the way people have communicated with me. So you are much better off to assume they don't care, and that your first and most important job is to get them to care. So let's talk about that. One of the ways to get them to care is to be more relevant. And this is really in the category of preparing to communicate in an effective way. And there's 2 big ideas here. One is to translate, and the other is to respect their time in terms of getting them to care. So what I mean by translate is you cannot use all of your language that you use within your organization when you're talking with executives. So within your organization, you probably have project names, and you have acronyms, and you have technical detail. You have all of this stuff that you use when you talk about your work within your organization. I refer to that as your inside voice. You need to translate your inside voice and talk in the language of your stakeholder. So this is what I call your outside voice. And to use your outside voice, it's important to put the business first in your thinking, not your function, not your project, not your proposal, but put the business idea that this executive is most interested first and foremost in what you talk about. And I have this idea on the slide here that says, don't educate. If you have to educate your stakeholder on why what you're doing is important, you're not relevant. If you have to educate, you are not relevant. Because what is relevant to them is what they already know and care about. So if you want to be relevant, you need to start with what is already relevant to them. And you need to talk in their language. And I'm going to give you two ideas here that I call creating the hook and creating the frame about how to translate into their voice. But before I get there, I also want to talk about this idea of respecting their time. Remember, they're busy. They have a broad scope of concern. And so if you look at this thing that you are presenting on and you look to your immediate manager, this thing might represent half of what your manager worries about, or, maybe an eighth or a fifth of what your manager worries about. When you take that a few levels up and you're talking to an executive, this program could represent 1,000th of what they care about. And so one of the things, if you have a chance to meet with the CEO, or you have a need to meet with the CEO, if you ask for an hour, you've already lost your credibility. Because there is no way that your thing that is 1,000th of what they care about is worth an hour of their time. So one of the things that I discovered, and I've written about this in my book Rise, is this idea called the 7-minute meeting. If you need to meet with a big executive, request a 7-minute meeting. And there's a couple benefits here, because one is it's kind of amusing and in its precision, and people notice it. But the assistants to the executives will be able to fit you in. If you ask for 30 minutes, it might take you 3 months to get a half an hour. But if you say, I just need 7 minutes, they'll make it work. I'll get her back from lunch sooner. I'll make sure that before he goes into this next meeting, I free up these 7 minutes. It's amazing how effective this is. And then if I got this 7-minute meeting with a big executive, I might take 2 weeks to prepare for it, because it's really important to be compelling and not boring. And so I would try to get my piece done in 5 minutes. And then I'd say, well, thank you, 2 minutes to spare. And more often than not, they would spend 20 minutes with me, invite me to stay for the balance of the half an hour, because I respected their time. I didn't ask for too much, and I used their time really well. So let me now go back to this idea of translating and making yourself relevant. Remember, if you have to educate, you are not relevant. So if you have to convey information, you need to translate, not educate. Here's an example. This slide is showing some ideas of things that marketing organizations care about, and some things that maybe you would measure marketing success on or base your budget on. So things like brand awareness, digital execution, social media and search marketing, and lead acquisition and conversion. Now, what you need to know, if you go in and talk to a big executive, they don't care. They don't care about any of these things. This is marketing stuff. And what you need to do is create that bridge. You need to translate, and you need to create this idea of a hook to something they care about. So if you look at a business initiative, using the words of the business, using the language of what the business stakeholders care about, you're going to get different language than the language from within your function. And I've just given some examples here. Things like improving business in existing accounts, improving profit margin on legacy business, gaining customer insights, expanding market share in Eastern Europe. This is just a random sampling about something a business leader might care about. But if you're the marketing person and you go in and say, I need to talk to you about improving profit margin on legacy, they're going to say, really? I'm actually interested in that. I'm working on that. What have you got? That's your hook. Your opening line needs to be a hook. And the hook is something they already know and care about, and it's using their words. So in order to create the hook, you need to do some homework. And you need to find a way, if you can interview your stakeholder and understand what are your initiatives, what's important, what are the risks, what are you working on. If you can't, maybe talk to some people in their organization, do some research, find out what it is they care most about. And whatever it is you go talk to them about, you make that the left column. And that's your hook. That's your translation. And then when you talk about what you're doing, it's all good. I have literally gotten away with what I'm showing on this slide, which is a left column that shows what my stakeholders care about, and in the right column, all green on the dashboard. And I just say, we're working on these things you care about. So far, we're going according to plan or exceeding plan. Everything is going well. Do you have any questions? And they'd say, no, go away. And there was my 5-minute meeting, and I went away because that's what was valuable to them at the time. And they trusted me because I was using their language, because I had translated, because I created the right hook. It's a really, really powerful way to communicate. Now, of course, you can put your language as sub-bullets under their headlines. As I've done on this slide, I've brought back the marketing terminology and I've associated it with the business language. And so this is the way that you translate and that you're automatically relevant, because what's in the left column is automatically relevant to them. Use your time wisely. If you've got those 15 minutes of fame, prepare. So I've talked about how you can prepare your content, and now I want to talk about how you can prepare the delivery of that content. So always keep in mind, don't be boring, respect their time. I talked about the 7-minute meeting. I talked about being as brief as possible. But just remember, they will not invest effort in understanding you. You need to be very, very clear and basic in your business case. I can't tell you as an executive how many times people got on my calendar for an hour to present a new initiative that they needed my support, they needed funding, they needed something for. And we had an hour, and we would get to like the 40 or 45 minute mark, and I would have to stop them and say, I don't understand what we're doing in this meeting. What is it you need? What is it you're asking me for? I have no idea. Executives won't invest effort in understanding you. You need to be really clear about what it is this communication is for and what it is you're needing from them. If you make them work to figure that out, you have lost the game. So I want to talk about these two ideas about identifying the lead and creating what I call the frame. And what I mean by this is, I'll get to the specifics of the lead and the frame on the next slide, but what I want you to take away from this idea is what I have here at the bottom, which is you are being judged. You are being judged as much as your content. Because a lot of times we go into these big presentations and we spend so much time on the data and so much time on the slide deck. And we don't realize that that is only half of what the executive's brain is looking at. The other half is looking at you. And they're saying, is this a high quality person? Is this someone I should be interested in? Is this someone that we should be investing in? You are being judged as much as your content. So making sure that you're really clear about what you want them to take away, what's the headline or the lead, and the frame you want to put around that data so they know what to do with it, that is going to elevate you. And I can tell you, as an executive, I sat through countless presentations, and in most of them, I was bored to death, and I had no idea what the people were asking for. And the people that got to the point right away and made it clear what they were asking for right away, we just had great conversations. We started working in the meeting, and we left that meeting with action and progress. It's a really important opportunity, and you will really stand out if you prepare well. So what I mean by the lead is kind of like the newspaper headline in a physical newspaper, right? The lead should give you, if you read nothing except the headline, you should get the point of the story. And then the subhead is the next most important thing in the story. And then as you get and read down the rest of the article, it gets more and more detailed, but you really do get the gist of it if you only read the headline and the subhead. That is a marvelous skill to master when you're preparing for executive communications. So if somebody came to me with a presentation that said, we've got a new competitive threat in the market that will kill us if we don't act within a year, I know what the lead is. They want me to approve action on this new thing that's going to address this competitive threat. Okay, let's go. The frame is another idea that I think is really valuable to think about, because you're going to have a lot of data. One way or another, you're going to have a lot of stuff that you're going to be tempted to present. And if you've nailed the lead, that's really important. But anytime you've got a lot of content, I think it's really useful to create what I call a frame. And the example here is, I've got a bunch of data and a plan here that shows how we can put a winning service in the market in 9 months with a $2 million investment that will pay back in less than 2 years. So everything that the person is listening for fits within that frame. A different example of a frame might be, we've got a lot of data here that shows we have a quality issue. That's the frame. Or the frame may be that you need to build credibility for your organization. So what you say is, as the frame, what I want to present here to you about these projects will demonstrate that we have regained the lead in our market sector. Creating that frame of what you want the executive to take away is such a gift for the executive. And so one of the resources that I have put in the executive playbook for this topic is an outline and a template for a 10-slide executive presentation. And I have used this presentation over and over again. I've used it with people that I've coached in preparing their executive presentations. It's just a really good way to get right to the point, to get the lead and the frame out there, and make sure you're not taking too long to get to what you're asking for, and then making sure that you do the ask in a way that is easy for the executive. So it's a great template that's part of the playbook this month. The other thing about delivery, I keep repeating this sentiment here of don't be boring or annoying. And again, as an executive, I have sat through many presentations that I would describe as boring and annoying. And so on the other side of that, we've talked about being relevant. We've talked about creating the frame. We've talked about being clear about the lead. There are a couple of other things that I find as the executive audience make a presentation much more useful. And it's the people that are willing to make it useful and personal. And personal, not in like some deep personal relationship kind of way, but personal in that they are taking ownership, and I can see that. They are taking personal ownership and accountability for this, and they are respecting me as a person, and we're having a conversation like two people would have a conversation, not like a very transactional, formal, boring thing to an executive robot. So a couple ideas here. One that helps me so much when I have a big, scary executive meeting is I get myself in the mindset of helping a friend. Instead of I need to present and be defensive with this big, scary executive, or I need to persuade or influence this big, scary executive, I walk in and think, how would I treat this person if they were my best friend? If I had to pitch this thing to my best friend, how would I do it? And first and foremost, I would probably walk in and say, how are you? And, what's going on right now in your universe? And is there anything I can help you with? And I see some of the best salespeople. That's how they start every sales call. It has nothing to do with what they're selling. It's just sit down, address another person, and is there anything you've got going on that I might be able to help you with? That's how you would deal with a friend. So when I say be personal, I don't mean being fake, just be comfortable, and don't just be a conduit for information. Own the outcome of the presentation. Any communication that happens, there should be some sort of outcome. And if you show that you are the one taking ownership to make sure that nothing gets dropped and you are going to handle all the next steps as a result of this communication, that is going to show you as someone who is highly engaged, and that's going to make it come off as much more useful and credible. So there are two other things in the playbook that I want to let you know about. One is I've put in a 7-step checklist for preparing how you deliver your presentation. And this helps you make sure that you hit all of the right notes at the beginning, middle, and end of your presentation, and that the right things happen in the right way, and that you are using your audience's time effectively. And then there's an additional topic in the playbook related to executive communications, which is about fitting in socially. Because part of being effective in communicating with executives is to give them the feeling that you are comfortable among them and give them the feeling that they like it when you're around. That you're comfortable, you have something to offer, and that you can actually exist socially and not stick out as the junior person who is acting somehow awkwardly. It's another aspect of executive communications, and the information on that is in the playbook. So, in summary, 3 ideas to take away. So important. Number 1, your job is to get them to care. Executives won't invest time and energy in understanding you. You need to win them over. Number 2, prepare. Always focus time on your preparation of not only the content, but the delivery. And always think about how you can be most relevant and compelling. And number 3, it's about credibility, and that you and your brand are part of your communications. And so see this as an opportunity to build an authentic rapport with executives. So my final thought here is that it's so important to develop your personal strategy to communicate with executives and invest effort in getting it right. It's a lot of work, but it has a big payoff. and you often don't get a second chance. So don't waste the opportunity when you have an opportunity to communicate with executives. So now I want to talk about the playbook and how you can get the playbook, as I mentioned, for free. The playbook this year is about helping you be prepared this month, be prepared, be relevant, and be confident with executives. And when you prepare in the right way, you can greatly increase your effectiveness and your comfort level with executives. So in the playbook is a system for how to communicate more clearly, be more relevant, how to plan your content to hit the mark right away, how to plan your delivery to be engaging and compelling, and how to fit in socially and make them want you to be there. It includes outlines, templates, worksheets, and action steps. These executive playbooks are part of my executive mentoring group, and members get a new executive playbook each month. And I do this program to help people get their own career breakthroughs by providing the important insights and the tools and support that you need to get your career breakthrough. The way you get the executive playbook is by becoming a member of my executive mentoring group. And I do this to help people get their own breakthroughs in their careers and the insights, tools, and support you need to get your breakthrough. And you can get a new executive playbook each month. And you can start this program with a free trial, so you can have complete access to this executive playbook for a whole month, and you can use this playbook. So let me just show you a little bit more about how this program works. And I'm really excited about this because I've been able to work with a few thousand members over the past 8 years that I've been doing this program, and just getting to see their lives get better. And that's just a wonderful thing. So one of the cool things about this is that you can start wherever you are at any level. There's no specific prerequisite that you have to have mastered in order to find this useful. These tools will allow you to start from where you are and move forward, and to get a better career, if that means opportunities, promotions, less stress, more time, more support, or simply being happier at work. And all of the playbooks and resources in the program fit into this do better, look better, connect better structure. And so some ideas, there are playbooks under do better on make more time, on leading high-performing teams, on critical business conversations. There's also there's a playbook and other resources on ruthless priorities, which is a really, really important topic. Under Look Better, there's one on executive presence, mastering executive communications, and marketing and positioning yourself. And Connect Better, ideas like authentic networking, mentors and sponsorship, and today's webinar on influence and matrix management. So there are more executive playbooks. These are just an example of 9 of them. And as a member, you can get access to all of them. The way the executive playbook works, in the example this month on mastering executive communications, is you start where you are, and perhaps you want to be more clear, more confident, and more effective with executives. And at the end of the month, you'll have a plan for how to improve your communications in a way that works for you. And you can feel more confident because you'll be more aware and more prepared for what executives expect, and you'll have the strategy and the templates to be compelling. And so in the playbook, it gives you the insights, the framework, and the action plan, and the tools. There's a streaming webinar. It's a deeper dive of what we've covered today, and it has those extra resources in it, and I talk you through the outlines and the worksheets and the templates to put this into action. You can watch the streaming webinar or listen to it on MP3 audio, and you get the worksheets and templates and scripts that you can work with. Also, the playbook comes with some structure to help you put these ideas into action. So you'll get a weekly reminder in your email, and each week you'll get a small, a short but impactful insight about this topic, and then specific goals and tasks and scheduling ideas for how you can put these ideas into action in your own work and career. And then also you get support, you get coaching from me. It's the executive mentoring group because you get me as your mentor. And there are 2 group coaching calls each month. One is a Q&A that's focused on the topic, and the other is a general coaching hour. And there's also a private Facebook group, and users will post questions and ideas there, and I'm there on the page to provide answers and ideas as well. So there's lots of opportunities to get personal coaching from me. So what the membership includes is the 12 executive playbooks and all of the tools, template, system structure, and reminders that I've told you about. The program is $269 per year, but you can get a 30-day free trial. So if you want to get your hands on this playbook and participate throughout April in the playbook on mastering executive communications, you can sign up for a free trial and you'll get everything. I just wanted to share a couple of ideas from former members. One of these things, I've talked about Colette before, who's told me that this program has helped her land 2 promotions and her dream job. And I love hearing that. But I also, from Vicki, wanted to share this idea. I can do this. I'm no longer intimidated by the steps necessary for career development. And that's one of the things that's so rewarding about this for me, is that since I've been through this, I just outline it for you and give you the scripts and the ideas, and it suddenly becomes less scary. And people are always saying, I can do this. These steps are not frightening, they are doable. And that's really my goal with this program, is to give you things that you can actually do that make a difference. And this is a proven curriculum. I have been working with individuals and groups on these topics for 10 years now. And in the executive mentoring group, I've curated the most useful topics and tools to help people get their own career breakthroughs. And I know what it's like to need a breakthrough. I've been stuck as I advanced my own career. I heard no many more times than I heard yes. And I remember how bad it feels when you feel like you're stalled or blocked. And so I put together these tools to help you make your way to get to your breakthrough. And I truly want to help. I do this program because I really want to help. I had a lot of help. I know what works, and I want to share all the secrets. So that's my ambition in my book Rise and in this program. Share all the secrets so everybody knows what works and how to get ahead. And in the end, this is about having less stress and more happiness in your life, so you can struggle less and be more confident and get the recognition you deserve, get the opportunities you want, and make your life better. And one of the things I love about this program is that people feel more confident. It builds their confidence to do the things they need to do, and life just gets better when you allow yourself to be more confident and you claim that confidence that you deserve, because you are a strong and capable person, but somehow we tend to not be confident more often than we allow ourselves to be confident. And so the fact that this program has given so many members confidence to go get their breakthroughs just means so much to me. I just want to tell you about a couple of other things that are included in the membership. I don't want to take a lot of time here, but one of the biggest roadblocks to getting ahead in your career is simply being too busy. And you're so busy doing your current job that you can't even consider doing all the things you need to do to go for your next jobs and get recognized for promotions. And you get really stressed out being so busy. So I wanted to just put in the membership for everyone this Ruthless Priorities class that helps you get on top of it, because no one cares how hard you work. You need to figure out how to deal with your overwhelming workload. So you get this online class as part of the membership. Quote here from Brittany that this approach to Ruthless Priorities provided her a way to work differently, to be less busy and have more impact. And at the end, it makes life better. So the membership includes the 12 playbooks, all the tools, templates, systems, and reminder, and the Ruthless Priorities class. I want to address a question that people ask me sometimes when they think about joining, and they say, but is the program just too generic? You know, my situation is totally unique, and how can this help me personally? That's where the coaching comes in. I totally agree with you. These tools are super useful on their own, but you run into your situation with your annoying manager or colleague or too much work, stresses, whatever's happening in your world, it's important to have an opportunity to get some mentoring on your exact situation. And so I have 2 opportunities each month to do a Q&A session with me. And so one is focused on the topic of the month. The other one is general, but members can call in and get their questions answered. And you will find that a lot of members like to call in and just listen to the conversations. And so everyone has a chance to get their questions answered. We never leave these sessions where people are saying, you didn't have time to answer my question. It's a wonderful opportunity to get coaching directly from me. And as I mentioned before, there's a private, optional Facebook community. So again, all of the things in the membership, including the group coaching, the Ruthless Priorities class, the executive playbooks, and I want to share one more thing that I just want to give everybody, and that is this additional online class for managing your boss. I can tell you in the coaching hour calls that we have, at least half of the questions are people dealing with a bad boss, a boss who is behaving badly, a boss who is a bully. There are so many challenges out there with bosses that I've collected a bunch of wisdom and I've put it into this class on managing your boss. Even if you have a good relationship with your boss, it's really important to own that conversation. And in this class, you'll get scripted conversations for building trust and confidence, for performance planning, for negotiating pay, and for gaining visibility. So that is just another resource that's available to members. And one of my other favorite success stories here is from Carrie, who was not communicating in the right way with her bosses about the value of what she was doing. And when she switched by using the principles we're talking about here and this program, she got 2 pay raises and 2 promotions. And actually, Carrie today is now a CEO and she runs her own company. So I'm so pleased for the success that Carrie had in this program. So on the screen here, you see all of this stuff that you get. If you add up kind of the street value of these things, it's almost $5,000 of value that you can invest in your career. But because of the internet, I love the fact that I can offer this to a lot more people at a much lower price. And so the membership is $269 per year if you want to join for a year. Or you can just try it out and sign up for the 30-day free trial, and you can get the executive playbook on mastering executive communications. So if you want to explore the program, simply go to pattyazzarello.com. There you will see a page where you can explore everything that's in the program. You can preview different playbooks. You can click on them. You can see what's inside the playbook. And it's all right there, and there's places to join right on that page. So you can sign up for a 30-day free trial. There's a choice to become a monthly member, which is $29 a month. Or if you've been following along for a while and you've decided that you'd like to jump in and do the annual program, it's actually a much better deal. It's a 23% discount off of the $29 a month. And when you get to that page, you will see these options spelled out. You can start a free trial, you can become an annual member, and right there on that page, you can make your choice. So the monthly program gives you access to one live group coaching session each month, and you get a new playbook each month. And as you move forward in the program, you begin to collect playbooks, and you keep everything you have as long as you're a member. If you become an annual member, you get immediate access to all of the executive playbooks. You also get a second group coaching session with me each month, and you get 2 bonus classes. And these bonus classes are a different kind of thing. They're a bit more involved than an executive playbook, but there's an important one on ruthless priorities and another important one on managing your boss. And so you get access to all of that for the $269 annual membership fee. So again, go to pattyazzarello.com and you can review all of these resources, and you can make your choice, and you can start a free trial right away and have access to the current playbook. Again, if you would like to explore the program or join the program, just go to pattyazzarello.com. And I hope you do. It's a great program, and I'd love to welcome you into the executive mentoring group. Thanks, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.